Hi, welcome back to Not My Monk Life. My name's Skye.
And my name is Ayesha.
It's good to see you or for you to see us. We are excited to be back with another amazing topic, one of which brought me much anger these past few weeks, which is when people protect the money of others, not just of others, of like corporate entities for what is the reason. Um, I just moved into a new apartment. I left Midtown, now I'm in Smyrna, and it's a great apartment complex. I'm really enjoying myself. But in the beginning process, I was given a set amount to cover my first month's rent, along with all my other fees and charges and deposits and everything. And I double, triple checked that amount. I brought it with me, had it confirmed by my leasing agent. I was good for a day, and then I go into my portal and I owe an extra $500. I was like, pardon, what is this for? And they couldn't figure out what it was for. I talked to a million people. 3 weeks later, I had to pay them the extra $500 because apparently I was getting a deal for my first month's rent that I didn't qualify for, and I needed to still pay the full first month's rent. And it was some special concession that's where if you move on the 25th or later, which I did do, I moved on the 31st. But for some reason, I didn't qualify for it because they didn't want to give it to me. They couldn't give it to me because I didn't qualify for it, but I did qualify for it, and it also exists. So it exists, so just give it to me. They made a mistake, so why not just? It's $500, and this is a complex that has so many locations across cities and states that they can eat that easily. I am but a girl. Let me keep my money. I found that so frustrating because it was this whole thing too of they had said something to me of we're extending your deadline. We're not going to make it due until the end of the month, just in case you already spent the money. That gives you time. Okay, so they think the issue is I don't have the money. More so, the issue is I thought that I had $500 more. I could buy a really nice. I could buy. I don't know if a really nice flight. I could fly to California for $500. Could I? I don't know if I could. Could I fly to
You could
California
fix
for
my
$500?
laptop screen for
I can fix your
$500.
laptop screen. And I had a whole other situation on an airplane. I'm flying. I had a flight to Dubai. It was a long flight, and I woke up from like the premium select seats. This is a business trip, and I go to the bathroom, and I went to the first class section. And so I leave the bathroom, and I walk to the front of the plane to grab a snack to go back to sleep. I grab a little bag of popcorn, grab two little bags of popcorn, and like a tiny thing of cookies. And I see the flight attendant. He smiles at me. I smile at him. I'm walking back to my seat. He's following me. I literally close the curtain to my seat. First, premium select is you go from first class, you walk 2 steps, you're in premium select. I go to my seat. He follows me. He goes, where are you sitting? And I go, right here. The seat that I'm standing in front of, that's where I'm sitting. Like, these snacks are only for our first class members. And he took my snacks. And I said, okay, where are my snacks? And then he said I had to go to the back of the plane, which was 500 yards away. And I looked at him and I said, okay. He comes back. He's like, there's snacks right here for you. It was pretzel thins this big, and there were three and a half in there. I'm just like, why is this man so pressed? It's 6 hours since his flight. It's pitch black dark. I grabbed a bag of popcorn. I'm sure you have enough. You had to follow me to my seat and take it from me, which some would deem embarrassing. And I simply find it fury driving. And I just don't really understand what possesses people in those moments to be so deeply defensive of what to them belongs to the wealthy or corporation. I was on another flight and the person brought popcorn from first class to someone in premium select. So I don't know why I was fighting these battles. Um, was it God gives his battles to his strongest soldiers?
Oh my God, that's my dad's favorite quote. Not
I
for me,
battle
for
because they want to
himself.
give me popcorn. They want to give me popcorn, guys, when I survive.
I think what frustrates me most about stuff like that is I understand rules and regulations, But it's when people choose when to follow them and who to give them to, who to give the exceptions to is really what I'm trying to say. Because yeah, if they were just consistent and stuff, and if they state no, for these seats, like we only have this. If you grab this snack, then everybody's going to want this, and et cetera, et cetera. I can kind of understand it because it's you're just following protocol and whatever, and we live in a capitalistic society, so naturally, all those things, all the things. But I mean, if it was fair and equal and oriented towards this is a long ass flight, we got to get you your food because you paid premium. That would be ideal, of course, but I understand having protocols, but it's just the fact that people higher up get to choose who to treat in that way, who to treat human, who to treat a little bit more human than other people. You bringing up that the whole living situation thing is obviously going to be triggering because New York landlords are notorious for not being human. And I've really processed this. You can't humanize someone if you yourself are not human. You can't
Oh my
humanize
goodness,
someone
that's so real.
if you aren't someone who is constructed of the same elements with empathy and stuff like that. Like if you're just not there, you're not going to treat people that way. You get told time and time again, you're not seen as a human being. Like why would they treat you any type of way and be fair about certain things? You're not seen as a human being. And it's like, but why is that? How could anybody treat anybody like that? Because the way I have been hurt by these landlords, it's a different kind of anything. It's a different kind of pain. It's a different kind of not being protected, not feeling safe in your own home. It's a different type of violation, and it really comes down to people, I think, being so robotic in how they feel like they need to move because the way the system is set up doesn't make sense. So, in order for you to justify your actions, it might not even be a conscious thing though, but in order to go through it and to have that more authoritative role, because that's kind of in your job, like it shouldn't be this power dynamic, but it is. But in order to really fulfill that, you do have to shut off a part of yourself and you have to be an autopilot and like oh, she is doing this, not okay. But then that also gets mixed in with predispositions about people and certain like prejudices and stuff like that maybe. And I'm not saying that was all in your situation, but I think the bigger picture and why this is problematic and why this angers us or a part of it is really just that piece of who gets to be seen and for what reasons and who doesn't.
You made a really great point of that part of people not being human. Because there's this weird thing where when we're so deeply empathetic, when we enter the world and we see every perspective and we see people as these fully formed souls and everyone deserves love, it's not how everyone actually expresses when they're on Earth. There's so many people that are in roles like they're New York landlords, and to survive as a New York landlord who is making the most possible money possible, you have to shut off a part of your humanity like a freaking vampire. Hello, Vampire Diaries. They are literally shutting off their humanity. Like, actually, though, like you turn off a part of your brain, and I feel like you probably, like, if you run an MRI on these people and you show them pictures of people, it probably registers the same as if you're looking at an object. The same way, like when it comes to, they did that whole study with like men. When they saw women, like on an MRI, it registers the same as an object.
It's the same part of the brain, yeah. And then for women,
Yeah.
it's different. And it's
Yeah.
human people, it's different. It also affects the amygdala, probably.
Yes. It's this thing that I've been so conscious of, like just simply working within corporate spaces, which is that if you're not careful, your environment will try to shape you into being exactly what they had to be to survive. Whatever an industry was 30 years ago, whoever you had to become as a working woman to make it through a male dominated field, or whatever we accepted as normal, especially working with people who are so much older than you. They're like, this is just how it is, this is what you have to do. But surprise, surprise, the rules are different now. And beyond the rules being different, I'm not you. I'm going to function how I want to function in this space in a way that feels like it aligns with my integrity. But it's so often where you're going to run into people who want to put their journey onto you and turn you into almost a robotic figure because it justifies also where they're at. When you're in these situations, it's like, what do these people tell themselves? Like, what does this person tell themselves to justify taking my popcorn from me in the dark? How do you feel as like a leasing person when you're out here telling this person who, like, your new resident, happy go lucky, I know we promised you this, it was a mistake. So, and I'm not saying they handled it as well as they probably could have while still making me pay them. I gave you an extra month, thank you for that. But why is the response not, oh, I just want to make you happy? Genuinely, why? I'm curious as to why. Is it commission? Are you messing with a specific person's commission and that person has a lot of influence? Is it quota for the company? Is it if you don't hit this number? Is it those $500 brought you to the number that you needed to hit for corporate to give you guys an award for the month at this location? Like, is it that this is actually this unforgivable offense, or is it that there's some specific scenario that you're in that's making you create this reality where we push for this to happen?
And I don't think that people take the time to really think about why they do the things they do. I think that's a big part of it. And I don't think you need to overthink things, but if you're disconnecting from that space of empathy to some extent, for us, it's just very natural to think, oh, okay, if I'm disconnecting from that, I might be out of alignment. What am I doing? And maybe I need to leave this job. But it's not normal, I think, for people to do that because those positions are the stable positions. Like, I'm not even talking about career wise, I'm talking about moving in certain ways. I'm even thinking about a conversation I had with a friend recently when it comes to us recognizing and reflecting on how we've adapted to and adopted so many of our mom's paranoias and fears. And we know consciously it's not even ours. But I was talking to my mom about this after my friend and I had this conversation. And I'm like, it almost feels like I'm paying respect to knowing how much you sacrifice to build this specific life that yeah, I'm gonna allow myself to have anxiety about things that I don't need anxiety for because it feels like that's how you got through these certain things. And so they were so important. It was so important for you to be at the airport so early, or like it was so important. I didn't want to get too heavy, so I used like the lightest example in my head, but it
Good
was so
example.
it was so important for you to operate in these certain ways that it doesn't necessarily apply in my life, but I know that it gives you comfort. So I'm taking this on as my comfort to make me feel closer to a work ethic or an action or a behavior that got you through life and got me here. And I'm not saying it's that deep with people, but I do bring that up because I am reflecting on the fact that there are conscious realizations that I know in myself that keep me operating in a state. I'm trying to break out of it, by the way. Like after recognizing that, I'm like, okay, wait, we need to fix this. I don't think it's okay to have these because they eat me alive. Anyways, but yeah, just that challenging certain things and not out of defiance. It doesn't mean you're gonna question things and then lose your job. Or maybe people even fear that if they question things too much, they won't ever want to do certain things, and it's hard to operate in a system that doesn't make sense through a lens of empathy and compassion and generosity because you have rules and I understand why rules are in place. If everybody on the plane asks for first class snacks, someone's going to run out at some point. You're in a thing in the sky. You can't just go to the grocery store. Like I get it. But it's a lot more layered and complicated and it takes a little bit more effort than just regurgitating what you see or what you know. No, I'm about to ramble, but go ahead. I feel like you have a thing that you want to say.
I barely had anything that I wanted to say, but it did trigger one thought, which is that I'm remembering that I used to work at a I worked at a country club for a little bit here in Atlanta, over in like the Inslee Park area. When I worked there, I remember there was like a distinct difference in the people that were working there. You had just like the young like 20 something, early 20 something year olds, people who wanted flexibility. And then you had the people who were really, really, really passionate about working specifically at like a fancy, wealthy country club. And it was like it was very clear that they wanted to be these people one day. And the way that they could become these people one day, for them, that path was working for them in this capacity. Because there's this thing where you do a really good job at this country club. Um, the patrons will come in, and if they recognize you and they really like you, they might hire you for their company. They might hire you to be their assistant or their receptionist or their something. I don't know what else. And that was like this really cool thing because these people are like really rich to be attending there. I remember one guy specifically because he just like he got was hired when I was there, and he had this energy of just like he was so excited. He had all of the ideas. He was so happy to be there. He really cared. If something got messed up, he got upset. But it was very clear what his goals were. Like it wasn't he. This wasn't a job to him. It was his future. Looking at these people was him looking at who he wanted to be one day. And so there's this way in which I think that I don't even know if it's an open conversation that we have, but we're almost expected to sacrifice our peace, our joy, our sense of self to satisfy some leader that we put on a pedestal in front of us. And the way to success that was talked about before was you kind of like become like a doormat to this person, and that's how you succeed. I guess that was a working style at some point. And that's just miserable. And it's interesting because it almost seems like success at a time was mapped in like scars and misery. And I saw this clip of Amy Poehler from her podcast, and she was saying how when she worked at SNL, she never took a sick day. She worked through when she had like 104-degree fevers. She worked through it. She was on set. She was filming movies, and she's talking to somebody, and they're agreeing, and how that's something to be very, very proud of. To like just like never take a sick day. You hustle, you hustle, you hustle, you hustle. I think for them, it is something to be proud of, and for someone who does feel that way, that's great. But for our generation, for Gen Z, it's like please take a mental health day if you feel a little too like overwhelmed by the world, which I think is extremely important. I remember I've had like mental health days where I was working and you just start to make dumb mistakes because you're so overwhelmed by your own personal life.
Yeah.
Take a mental health day. Are you super sick? Take a day so you can like get better. Know your limits and have boundaries. And also I think enter spaces that are like stale and revive them with your new perspectives. Teach
Yeah.
them how to have a balance. Teach the leaders in your life. They're leaders in their expertise, but at a certain point, your world becomes narrow. You need new perspectives to come in to widen your view of what can be changed to evolve and keep growing. You need to be able to like if I just become a clone of everyone around me, no one's going to grow, including myself.
I had a few thoughts pop up in my head because I think that there is a balance. I mean, immigrant parents, like they definitely instilled or lived through anything that they might have needed to just take a break on. It's like, no, I saw them grind and hustle, and I value that. I really value that. And I think that sometimes it just goes from one extreme to the other. Like, you don't need a mental health year. Like, maybe you do, but you need to balance that out with making sure that it's not you're not escaping more, or now because you have all this time you're going into your head more than you need to. Like, it needs to be this balance, and I think that it's easy to go from one extreme to the other when you're already putting yourself in spaces that you know are going to be draining. It's why people enter the corporate world and all of a sudden they come home and they have to drink and stuff and watch TV instead of work on their passion project because there's no fuel for that. It's not the same type of draining energy as, okay, that was exhausting. Oh, example, like working with children. I love working with kids so much, and it is draining and depleting and taxing on the body. But it's nice to, I feel like I can speak on this because I know the opposite, but it's nice to be able to come home and feel drained, but then it's fuel. It's not, okay, I need to go escape. It's, oh, I need to create my own world and get in my body because I have so much, my heart feels so open. And I think that rest is very important, working hard is very important, but being mindful and taking accountability and responsibility for the spaces you're putting yourself into. And I'm not saying that it's easy just like leave any I think that that's where that resistance factor comes in of sometimes you're going to be in spaces that aren't for you. Like you're going to be in spaces that you don't want to be in. And I don't think we should avoid that completely because we need to build up that ability to handle things that are difficult. But I think that the way we go about it, like what you were saying, is by putting our own spirit into it, by teaching people. We don't have to just obey by these behaviors of being cold if that's the cultural climate. If that's not us, that's going to drain us if that's not innately who we are. So taking accountability and responsibility for the fact that this person is so hungry and miserable, and as a human being I get that. I can't give everyone snacks on this plane, but okay, I'm gonna like hush hush give you a little bit. Or I won't take your snacks away, but just so you know, we're not allowed to do this, so I'm just gonna openly communicate with you that, hey, like this is the situation and I know you're hungry. It's just pure acknowledgement. It doesn't mean give into everybody all the time, but communication is seeing someone as a human being. You can have communication and hold boundaries in communication, but just being robotic and operating out of that sense of this is wrong, so I must take this. Goodbye. With a smile on your face is weird because your smile is not matching your actions. And like I'm saying, if you can't supply something or if you're fearful of getting fired, it's like, yeah, maybe you are breaking the rules and you're not comfortable with that, but communicate. Well, communicate. I almost bit my lip and that scared me. Anyways, I got passionate for a second. I think my new thing is almost biting my tongue and my lip or my cheek or whatever. Because normally it's when I get passionate, I have more saliva.
I don't like biting my lip.
I don't think
Whenever I
anyone
snore, I'll take my tongue
does.
like But you know what? I honestly, I don't even like stubbing my toe. Like I don't enjoy that feeling.
Nobody likes stubbing their toe.
I'm just not into it.
Skye's not like other girls.
I'm just like different. It's whatever. I am curious though because this is a bit more on the taking space and self-care in the workplace, but I consider you the hustler to be honest between the two of us.
What about
Like
that?
you're going to push through a sick day more like differently than I would. I like rest. I How do I want to say this? You help me fill in the gaps here because I know that I value rest and snacks
I
and
love snacks.
meals.
I've learned to eat more because of you.
Yeah.
I've never disliked eating. It's just I never realized the importance of Skye told me once. She said she builds her days around her meals or structures her days around her meals, where I always was like, fit in your meals around your day, throughout your day where you can. But I also cannot, I'm not one of those people who could just go without food. Like I need to eat, and when I eat, I eat. Sorry, just side note because I wanted to give you credit for the fact that you are good about that.
I am. It's this weird thing. I feel like I have this body that's like built to challenge me to be certain ways because I will pass out, head hit the floor if I don't eat. And I passed out so many times as a kid because I didn't eat breakfast and I went to go do like a chorus concert. Next thing you know, my head's on the concrete in the school cafeteria and everything's blue and purple and some random adult is asking me where my parents are. And I don't know. You know? So so to avoid that, I like to eat my meals. I always have my snacks on me. But and honestly, I don't want to say that you're a certain way now that maybe was more applicable when we first met. Like, how do you How do you structure in like rest and time for yourself or on like a very busy schedule? What does that look like for you? Because you are like Gen Z mindset, I care about myself, but I mean, but you're like a hustler, like you really are. You fill
So
your days.
yeah, I do. And I have actually really been sitting with this for a while. Um, because I recognize the importance of rest, and before I was one of those people who I was obsessed with structure in an unhealthy way. Like 4:30 a.m., get up, go outside and run no matter the weather, no matter how much sleep you got, hit the gym, do whatever, whatever. And it's like you're not rest is important, and I realize rest days are important, but that obsession with constantly making sure that I'm better than I was the day before. Like if I couldn't run as much, cough cough because you're not resting in between. I would really beat myself up for it. Not saying I was running like thousands of miles, obviously, but like I knew my limit up until a certain point. I'm like on a normal day, I shouldn't run more than 11 miles because my knee will give out, and if my knee gives out, then I have to take time off from running. Can't do that. So it's like I will push it to a point where it doesn't get rid of my progress necessarily, even if it doesn't allow it to grow a little bit more. Like for running, for example, it's like, okay, I can't run beyond this. So instead of just taking rest to heal and focus on allowing my body to be able to build strength back in that area, or like whatever, my knee was always hurting. Instead of just taking the time to focus on that, it was like, okay, but I know that if I just get to this amount, then that'll just satisfy that internal sense of, okay, I did enough, like I am enough. And I tied a lot of my worth to what I do, and I still do to some extent, and I'm trying to really release that. That's definitely a cultural thing, but I've tried to do the opposite where I'm taking active rest and doing nothing. Or like this is an example I use a lot, I feel like. But people like watching things when they eat, right? And there have been so many times where I'm like, this would be adorable to order food and watch a movie as like a self-care night. I hate that. I've tried that so many times. I had to accept this within myself. Okay, that's other people's version of rest. For you, that's stressful. Like it's stressful to find something. I don't like watching things by myself. The whole process of it, like making decisions on what to eat, I'm like, I hate all of this. This isn't rest for me. So playing around and experimenting with what rest is, and understanding too, like some days it really just might be sleep. And some days it might be like going for a run is rest, and that fits my definition. I think just internally letting go of that sense of I have to do something for my worth allows what I'm doing. For example, I would force myself to be productive with my rest. So it's like learn this new piano piece or something. And if I'm not, then it's affecting my sense of self worth and ability to be allowed to be on this planet. Now it's like, no, that's actually genuinely restful because I'm taking the pressure off of this is tied to my worth. And I'm realizing, oh, this is actually a relaxing thing for me. And my version of rest is working on projects, or it is doing yoga, or like it's doing these things. And I think I also just have a lot of physical energy. For me, I need to be using my body in some way, shape, or form. And that is very restful to me. So I think it's a personal thing where for other people, that's not the case at all. Like you need to just veg out. And I have tried that and it does not work. But I've tried that from the perspective of anxiety because I'm not using that time in ways that I think are quote unquote productive. And then I've done that on the opposite where I'm like, oh no, this is just how I'm wired. So to answer your question in less than 12 minutes, I feel like rest now is taking time to really understand what I need and prioritizing what I need for myself, because a lot of times throughout the day, you are still fulfilling obligations. You still got to get bills paid. You still got to do these things or get up when you don't really want to. So, rest really looks like, can I just take a minute to listen to myself and see what I want and see how I can fulfill that?
I love that. I feel like, I don't know, it's rare that you hear people talk about self care and rest in that way. It doesn't always look like you're putting on a bubble bath and putting cucumbers on your eyes and listening to Mozart. and drinking wine. Like, it doesn't have to look and watching what Gossip Girl on your tablet or something. Like, it doesn't have to look like that, and it's rarely shaped that way. It's funny because when you talk about exercise, like, I'm different, like, where you can get up and run and, like, you granted, I probably need to form some positive habits, but in the past year, I just kept experimenting and trying to trick myself into exercising and figure out what it was that worked, and for me, it's dance. And so I go to dance class a couple times a week, and I'm gonna pick up and add more. But like for me, that whole thing of like I'm trying to form positive habits is okay. I like dancing. Okay, I'm going to one dance class a week. Okay, now I'm going to two dance classes a week. Okay, now I'm going to three dance classes a week. Cool, awesome. I should do more than just dance. But like I have this like long term like goal of okay, once I get this comfortable with dance in a few months, then I'm gonna introduce this thing. I'm gonna introduce Pilates, introduce walking, I'm gonna introduce whatever, because I'm rewarming my body up to movement and consistent movement, and it's good for me. But like I don't have a mindset when it comes to stuff like that where I can just like go hard at 100%. And now I'm just doing this thing. Now I'm just like going to the gym every single day because like that will burn me out really fast.
Hmm.
Like that's like because I've tried that for different stuff, and it's just like well, I just had a cute little habit for 2 weeks and now I'm done. Or like I had a habit for a month and now I'm done. Whereas I've been going to dance class since February consistently and I like love it. And if I can't go because I'm like traveling for work, I miss it. And I just, and even if I haven't gone for 2 weeks as like travel, I'll come back and I'll be like, oh, am I gonna go? Okay, I'll go. And I go and it's just amazing. I'm back in it again. And so like I've had to reapproach exercise. Whereas before it's like, okay, go to the gym in the morning and do squats and walk on the treadmill or go for a run or whatever and like exercise like that just doesn't work for me. I need to be creative like accomplishing something in my exercise and that's where dance comes in and then I have other goals that make me want to do Pilates, basically core and back strength. Like more of that. Um but it's interesting how we like have to reevaluate these core aspects of our lives to fit for us. Of like, what about this is what normal people, not normal, this is what we're told people do. What do I need to do to make it actually apply for me?
And also, too, allowing yourself to realize, okay, this is what worked for me at one point. This does not work for me. Waking up at 4:30 to go run doesn't work for me because no, absolutely not. Two, safety. I was not considering that at all because I used to have this thing where I'm like, okay, this is my time to just focus on breath. So I wouldn't run with music normally, or like I would leave my phone at home. That's not safe because you're doing that and it's pitch black. This is before the Beltline had freaking street lights and stuff. Now I think they do, but it was dark and they had all those scooters that I would trip over, and I was so anti-electric scooters because these damn things would always get in my way. And I'm like, people put them back properly. Anyways, rant's over, but I think that it's so important. I've really been learning what you're so good at when it comes to introducing things and then letting yourself introduce things more or changing things up when your body's ready. I feel as though that's the phase I've really been in for the past year in a sense of realize or of acknowledging that weights nope not it for certain periods of time. Sometimes it's really just cardio. I have not done cardio in a minute. I did go for a run the other day, but I've been doing like maybe one run a month. Also, it's just cold, so that's mainly it. I think forcing myself to be in a structure for the sake of structure isn't actually listening to my body at all. It's keeping up with it, and that's the best shape I've ever been in. And I see how quickly, if you don't use certain muscles, they just they hide.
Literally.
Crazy. If you don't run for a week, it's like your body reverts back to no mileage at all. I don't understand that, but I think that there's beauty in that because it shows you that there's another area that just needed focus. Maybe it is just recovery. Maybe it is just flexibility. And also time. Like when I was going so hard during COVID, for example, I had 3.5 hours in the morning to hit every single area. I don't have that, nor do I want to have that much
Yeah.
time on my hands to just do that. Like, I want to be able to find ways that fit with my version of fun now. Before, that was very helpful having time like that to just focus on my body without technology and those distractions was really valuable to me. Now it's like I don't need to have so many hours of the day allocated to getting out of my head or giving myself affirmations while I go for a run. I'm fine with listening to music and I can still stay grounded and present. Or, like you're saying with dance, that was my go to for a minute. And realizing that I'm allowed to have fun and it's not about having to get out of my head. I feel like it wasn't really about how I looked, but it was more so this illusion of I know how I feel when I go for a run and then hit the gym. So I need to keep feeling that way because if I don't feel that way one morning, I might just have a bad day when I know that when I feel empowered through these things or I feel the endorphins or whatever it is, for me that feels like strength, but that's kind of an illusion because you're just constantly trying to chase this feeling that yes, it's true and it causes your brain to react in certain ways, but what are you missing out on? How many things are you missing out on because you're just doing something that's habitual versus taking the chance on yourself to listen to your body and allowing yourself to explore and just something else that could offer you joy, not just structure and endorphins, but dance classes are fun. They're scary at first, trying new things, actually every time. In college, this is what my degree is. Every single time, never got over it.
They're very
Every time
scary.
it's very intimidating, but how that worked a different part of my brain that wasn't just endorphins. It's strengthening me in so many different aspects. And yes, I might not be getting as much physical conditioning and strength training in the ways I was before and was training my body, but now the way that's training my spirit and allowing myself to just be myself in ways that the old structure doesn't fulfill anymore is so valuable.
I just, for a second there, I started daydreaming about bringing you to my dance studio. And
I was thinking about that.
I lost track of another talking point. I was like, I'll walk in, I'll be like, this is my best friend. And then
Oh,
we do the little jazz class, and then you'd be like, great. And then you'd be like in the front because you're talented and also because I'm taller than you. So I'd also be behind you for that
also,
reason.
I have this habit of always going front and center in dance classes. I don't, I like dancing. Remembering choreography is not something I practice. Like, that classes are intimidating because I'm like, okay, got it, got the step, and then they move on to the next one, and then they add those 12 things together, and I'm like,
Let's go back to the second step.
yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need a few weeks to work on just this. So yeah, I don't know about that, but it's so funny because I think people expect so much out of me because I just really enjoy doing it and I can't see, so I always am in the front. Like I always put myself in the front. And I think that it misleads a lot of people because they're like, wow, she's ready to go. And like I'm in my little element too. So I just show up and I'm like bubbly or whatever. And then we get to it. It's like, it's very powerful though. I've learned that when you're in the front, people in the back watch you and think that you know what you're doing.
Literally.
And so you have the power to mess everyone up.
Aisha, literally, when I tell you that's why, like, that's one thing for me where I can't be too far in the back where I can't see myself directly. Because if this person right in the corner of my eye messes up, I'm gonna be out here like the earth. I don't even know what's right anymore. Just instinctively in the moment. But then that's also just like a challenge for me to like just lock in better, which is really good. Like, that's one of those things with the dance that's really helped me is trusting myself. Like, I'm good with choreography, facts. But for me, it's trusting myself that I know in my body what's next and how to get there and how to get from point A to point B. And if I don't feel like I'm gonna fully imitate the teacher, I'm gonna figure it out. And I also don't need to look like everyone around me. I can do it how it works for me. And the newest thing that I'm working on is that the people around me are messing up because I've hit a point in my dancing career where I know the moves better than the people around me. So that's
Yes.
awesome. Yay.
Oh,
But that means people around me are messing up and that's not something to like get frustrated about. It means that I need to lock in and not be
mhm.
looking around me for answers. The answers are within myself.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're doing it for fun.
That too.
What?
But also be the best
I
dance
am in
I could
competition
possibly
with everybody
be.
around. I lost my train of thought because I said that and I was like, what are you doing for fun?
Is it just for fun or is it for creative accomplishment? I love
Yeah,
growth,
I
and
think that's important.
it's something that you can like like doing what anything creative is something that you can consistently grow in. Like no
Yes.
matter where you're at, no matter who you like, you don't have to compare yourself to anybody else but yourself. But I love consistently getting better, and it literally is making me just like a more confident, fluid person. And I feel like I always find life lessons in class. Like
Yeah.
even I went to class 2 days ago, yesterday, something like that, and did this jazz class that I haven't really done many times. And I remember we were doing our final performances, like the final little run throughs in our little groups. And I was looking around at the people going, and I was like, I don't think I'm dancing like them. I don't think am I supposed to be more whatever, more controlled the way that they're doing it? And I was like, no, I'm gonna do my thing. I did my thing, and I watched the video back, and it was good. And the teacher told me later, she's like, "You've made leaps and bounds. Like you're really killing it right now." I was like, "Thank you." And my takeaway was, when you look around and everyone's doing one thing, and it looks right because they're all doing it, still do what feels right for
Mhm.
you. And I'm gonna apply that to every aspect of my life.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do want to clarify when I say joy, it's not actively or it's not passively being like, whatever, this is for funsies. I feel like joy is that ultimate sense of being so immersed in yourself and allowing yourself to just feel free. It doesn't mean doing whatever. Like, I think there's a beauty and an art in not just having these improvisational moments or freestyling all the time, but being able to learn something and then add your own flair to it. Like the joy comes from learning and growing in these technical ways and then feeling free and finding the ability to add yourself to it a little bit more. And no, I love what you're saying because dance in general, the amount of life lessons that are just in that and embedded. I love, yeah. We will definitely take a class. I'm excited.
I would love that.
As hell, but I haven't been in class in a moment. I was gonna take a pole dance class the other day, and then the timing didn't work out. But I was like, wait a second, I haven't done this. I haven't done this yet because I love trying different styles, and I feel like I've hit a lot of them. But I'm like, this one's different. This one has a thing that I
I
swing on.
It has has a thing. I've wanted to try pole dancing, but in Atlanta, it's like every spot is when you're entering a pole dancing studio for the first time, you have to commit to like a 1 month long program.
That's what happens when you live in an area with all the clubs too. They're like, this
If you
isn't
want
just
to,
committing to class, this is committing to lifestyle.
this is if you're ready to make some money,
Yeah.
get in. But I travel so much, I can never commit to the whole month, and so I literally travel every month. So I
Yeah.
haven't had a month where I could just go every Tuesday for 4 weeks straight yet. I also just kind of lost interest because I started like focusing up on dancing. But I imagine that's like on my list of things, like aerial stuff and
Yeah.
pole dancing. Like I don't know, like whenever it's time to transition to that, I feel like yeah, I feel like if I was like a mother, I'd take up pole dancing for sure to keep that youthful, to feel good. That was
Yeah.
me swinging around the pole.
Oh, I thought you were cracking your neck.
I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of learning. Yeah. You know, pole dancing, dance class, airplanes, apartments.
They
They
all
all
go together.
they all go together in ways that you may never imagine. And they all went together in today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next time. Love you so much. This is not my monk life. Keep up the good work.
And we'll see you next time.
That part, yes. Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.